Hi everybody, I'm Kevin Weiss from bodyperformance.net, and I had another question sent to me from my friends over at Riptone Fitness Products, and I just hope I can answer it for the person and how it makes sense. And that question essentially was, how do I come up with my warm-up weights? How do I decide what weight to use during my warm-up sets and what formula I use? And that's a good question. I haven't really answered that online before, although I've been asked it many times with one-on-one personal clients. And the simple answer is I don't have a formula to figure out my exact warm-up weights. But what I usually consider warm-up weights is when I get to about 50 to 60% of what I'm going to be doing for that day. So let's use an example of, let's say 300 pounds, just to use a round number. Doesn't matter which lift you're talking about. You're going to work up to 300 pounds that day. So I would consider once you get to about 150 to 160, 175 pounds, that would be the beginning of your warm-up sets. Now that doesn't mean that you can't do practice sets, which are still warm-up sets before that. Like if I'm doing squats, I'll start with just doing squats with no bar, no weight at all, just my body weight. And maybe I'll do anywhere from 5 to 10 reps like that, and that's fine. And then maybe I'll use the bar with no weight on it, and I'll do possibly 5 to 10 again. The thing I think a lot of people miss is when they get to where I would consider warm-up sets, the 50 to 60% range, they're still doing the higher reps like that. I will only do that for maybe a couple sets where the weight is very low, whether it be body weight or just the bar, and I might do a little bit higher reps like that. But once I'm up to that warm-up range, I'll drop my warm-up reps to no more than 5, and then as I get closer towards my working weight for that day, I'll even go lower with my warm-up weights. The reason why I do this, even if I was going to do sets of 5 to 10 that day on my working weight, my warm-up reps might be only 2s or 3s by the time I get up there. And the reason for that is I'm trying to practice my technique, warm up my muscles for that particular lift, that particular activity that I'm going to do that day. So I want to get warmed up, but I don't want to get worn out, if that makes sense. If you're continually doing higher reps through your warm-up sets, so let's say you do 10 every time. So if you're going to work up to 300 pounds and you start with no weight, and then you do the bar, and then you say you do 95, 135, 185, and so on and so forth, you have many reps that you've done before you've actually started doing your work. That's going to accumulate fatigue, and that's not what you want. You want to be warming up so that you can perform the best when it comes time to start actually doing your work sets. So that's my recommendation, is make sure that you keep your reps to 5 and below so that you're getting warm but you're not getting worn out. As far as what I use for a formula to figure out those weights, like I said, I don't have a formula for that. If your weight that you're working up to for the day is, say, 100 pounds, well, obviously it's going to take you a lot less sets to warm up to that weight. You might go body weight, then you might use the bar, and then you might add 20 pounds a time, so 3 or 4 sets, and you're ready for your work sets. If you're going to 500 pounds, it may take, like some of my heavier work sets like that, it might take me 8 to 10 warm-up sets to get there. And that's even more important if you have a heavier weight, that you're not doing those higher reps in those sets, because if you only have 2 or 3 warm-up sets, it's not a big deal. If your reps are a little bit higher, you're not going to get that tired doing it. You have 8 to 10 warm-up sets, that's 80 to 100 reps that you might be doing that are going to be building fatigue, and that's going to take away from your actual performance of the key movement that you're looking for that day. So you got to keep your focus on what your warm-up is trying to achieve, and that's to warm you up. So I hope this answered your question. If you have any other questions, feel free to send it along to me. Send it along to Riptone Fitness, and they'll get it to me, and I'll answer it the best I can. I'm Kevin Weiss from bodyperformance.net. I'll talk to you again real soon.